I am freaking beat up. It's funny, we were talking a couple weeks ago about how I miss Ninja Warrior when it was like there were no gyms and you just had to show up and it was you against the course. That's kind of how it's going to be this year. Like basically I'm going to be showing up next week. Hopefully my ab will be good. My elbow, was I telling you about my elbow? My elbows were doing so good. And then I got arm barred and I wasn't like trying to like, oh, I'm not gonna tap. It was just in a position and something kind of, I wouldn't say popped, but popped. And ever since it's been bothering me again. I didn't think it was bad, but the guy was like, Alan, why didn't you tap? I'm like, I didn't think it was, but I think something, I don't know if I need to go have an adjustment and get something put back into place. But elbows are something I've battled for so long. Oh, yuck, hair. Have I ever told you about my hair phobia? For me, the first basic concept that I want students to get when they first come into the gym is that feet together position. I've thought about even making a shirt that just says feet together. I feel like I say that so often, and in the first half of the warm-up is just focused on keeping your feet together. And the reason we talk about feet together, like if my feet are together when I'm going into a landing, that's what I'm thinking of, being safe going into a landing. If my feet are together, I have one strong ankle unit. So together, it's nice and solid. Even if my feet are a little bit apart, they can rock in and out. So one strong ankle unit versus two not as strong ankle units. Again, if my feet are together, my knees track the way they're supposed to. If my feet are apart, they can track here. If my feet are together, I only have to spot one landing when I'm going to something. Right? I equate this to Luke Skywalker blowing up the Death Star. When he's coming in and he's got his tracking system and it's coming this way, and then eventually when it comes together is when he fires, right? The more you pattern something, the easier it is to find that pattern. Does that make any sense? If I'm splitting this rail, I'm not so good on the hoo-has. As I like to say to the kids, it's a huzzah to the hoo-ha. And it's one of those things where it's like, from the get-go, please understand, at least from my standpoint, how important it is to keep your feet together. Like that's all we're doing right now, is keeping our feet together. And you get 2 bounces in and the person's like, it's like, well, what are you doing? Focus on keeping your feet together. That's what you're doing right now. It's like that's your job. Just that one little thing that doesn't seem like much and that actually isn't much sets you up to be in such a better position and keep you safe. I mean, the idea was to do a training vlog, right? But like I said, I don't know that I can do much of anything right now, which there's actually kind of a little bit of an excitement in me to be like, hey, I'm gonna actually try to attack this course with no training, right? I mean, I've been training a little bit, but prior to a couple weeks ago when I was kind of training and it was beating up my hands, like I hadn't been able to do much because of my shoulder. Getting to the point where I could swing again, I was excited about that. Training sometimes going into a season, it becomes this like, oh, I need to be doing this, and the fun kind of comes out of it. Puts this little bit of pressure on of needing to train. It's kind of like when you're in school, like there's always this looming thing of like, I should be studying, especially like when I was in graduate school, right? There's this piece of, if you have any free time, you really should be spending it studying. There's this piece now, especially with there only being a couple weeks, it's like, man, if I have any free time, I really should be training, but I can't. Like, I know this is gonna seem crazy, but you know how important your abs are? Your core is when you're trying to swing and hang, when you're trying to do anything? I kind of missed back in the first couple of seasons that I did, where it was just you against the obstacle, because there weren't these gyms where you could actually like see replicas of the obstacles that were on the show. So it was kind of just like your athleticism against. And that's a little bit of where I'm at right now, because even though I have a gym with a nice setup to train, I haven't really been able to. So I'm sure Ninja Warrior would like to hear this, that I'm not in a very good spot to come appear on your show. Bringing it back full circle for me, because this will probably be my last season. I'm kind of going in fresh with no like specific training. Even balance I haven't been able to do the last week because of schedule and whatnot. Tomorrow it'll be 2 weeks since I injured the ab. I've been going to jiu-jitsu, I've been doing parkour, I've been doing world chase tag, because for some reason that hasn't been hurting the ab. It's this overhead stretching piece. I reached out and wasn't expecting, and I kind of just overextended, and that kind of, I don't want to say pulled the ab, but it definitely injured it. It makes it not feel so good. I thought I was going to be back to hanging, swinging sooner than what it's been. So on Monday, I was like, okay, well, I got to start to do something. And at least with rolling, I'm practicing grip, or I'm training grip. I was turtled up, right? And he had his legs and he started to straighten me out. And so of course I was like, no, you're not gonna do that. And so I went to, I can't even do that now, going into a plank, but I went to, so he had me here. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pull back here. And that was too much. So that's how I re-injured it. And so that's why basically this vlog is really boring, is because I was planning on doing a training vlog and now I can't do anything. See, this is what's interesting. Like, I don't know how much of this I want to say, because people will be like, why are you even competing then? Right?
This is why he came back to show he still belongs. Oh my goodness.
It went from wanting to train Ninja Warrior for competing next week in 1 week to not being able to do anything, to talking about some basic concept within parkour, and that's what goes on in my head, and that's a vlog with Alan.